breaking down the political landscape. This is KQ, truth for you. Political honesty rooted in God. This is KQ, truth for you.
Good evening. Welcome to KQ. I'm Ken.
I'm Kevlon.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. This is KQ, the truth for you.
I'm interested if this trial.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to KQ. I'm Ken.
I'm Kevlon. We are happy as two. We're just very happy.
Hot
Today is
damn.
the day.
Y'all already should know. Yeah, it's a glorious second day, the day after. Yeah, I mean, I always like to let it marinate a little bit before I just jump on in there. Yeah, it'd be better on the second day than it'd be on the first day usually. And boy. I feel like
Yesterday was hard
Obama
to
just
get
got
online.
elected. Huh?
Yesterday it was hard to get online.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
But yeah, everybody was online. That was the problem.
internet was shut down.
Yeah, buddy. It was shut down waiting on something good to happen.
Yep.
And
So
something happened.
obviously we are now entering into a new era where we have the Benedict himself, criminal con Don, as we like to say, finally, after all these years, convicted of felonies, multiple charges. How do you like them apples?
I think it's kind of good. At the same time, though I think it's a good thing, you have to understand the power of the man who is charged, and you have to understand the power of his influence over his whole own coat. And boy, if you've been watching the opposition lately, which as soon as I started realizing that it was the exact same thing going on with all of the left wingers, and everybody was talking about, hey, I can't believe it is, and 34, and all of them, and they went through the whole thing over and over again. After that, I flipped over and started watching OAN. I started watching a little Newsmax. I pulled up some Fox News, and boy, the narrative that they were given, whole different narrative.
Absolutely.
Whole
I was
different
wondering.
narrative.
I was wondering what the excuses were going to be, and the thing is, it's hard to come up with an excuse because this was a jury that decided. This was not Biden. It wasn't Obama or Hillary or even the district attorney himself. It wasn't any of them that decided. This was a set of facts that went to a jury, part of them, handpicked by Trump's attorneys. And they took the facts, applied the law as was prescribed, and they came out with a verdict. I'm so sorry, but verdicts are binding in America because we have what you call a rule of law. The same law that's been applicable to us African Americans all of these years is also applicable to the rich and powerful if it's applied correctly.
Right. Yeah. I was talking to one of my African American maggers out of Atlanta, one of my homies that I grew up with. Well, I helped grow him up because I was already grown when I got there. But yeah, and he said that that yeah, he's like, it's a shame that this man then got banged up. Free Donald Trump, he said. And he said that it was gonna be he's like, well, you gotta look at the bright side. The bright side is now there are a lot of black folks that are gonna get some special treatment and rights because of all of the stuff that Donald Trump had to go through.
Now
I
that don't
said,
even
well,
make
you gotta look at I told him you gotta look at the dark side, because if the man is reelected, it's gonna be a whole lot of rights that a whole lot of people are gonna lose forever.
Of course.
And that was the end of the conversation. So
Yeah, I saw a post on Facebook. It said something like, "Jesus was convicted in a sham trial too, and I still follow him."
wow.
Wow.
Yeah. They
So
go
you're gonna
deep.
pluck out Jesus and apply it to this guy? The
Yeah,
guy
I mean, yeah,
who was
Jesus
literally
wasn't an
paying off a porn
adjudicated
star?
rapist. Yeah, he wasn't an adjudicated rapist, just recently convicted for sleeping with porn stars and covering it up so he can win an election. That's
The
a
only
campaign contribution, man. You got to declare that stuff and to
He
declare it
was
as a
stealing an election.
what do you call them? Legal expenses. Yeah, declare it as a legal expense. I don't
Yes.
think that's right
Yeah,
during an
that's
election
falsifying
season.
business records.
Yeah. And all
In
that help he got
conjunction,
from the National Enquirer on top of that old David Pecker.
yeah.
That's a heck
I
of a
mean,
name.
he deployed David Pecker out to go and do catch and kill on all of the stories that were bad about him. At the same time, David Pecker was putting out fake stories on all of his opponents, including Hillary.
Right.
They put a picture of Hillary. It looked like it was like the worst picture she ever took. And the headline on that post said, Hillary, 6 months to live. I mean,
Right.
I mean, he had this guy in his pocket the whole time. So, and then with all of this help from the National Enquirer, help from WikiLeaks and releasing the DNC emails and everything else, he barely squeaked by 77,000 votes in 3 different states. That's a drop in the bucket, but he
Right.
barely squeaked by.
Yeah. Jill
And
Stein got more than that.
yes, and this was the impetus that put him right over the top, keeping this thing on a hush hush, and it's against the law in New York City. So don't get mad at me. And they complain a lot about the venue, saying, well, it's a bunch of liberals in New York, so this means it's a sham automatically. Well, nobody told you to do the crime in New York City. If you hadn't done the crime in New York City, then you wouldn't have been tried there. But guess what?
Yeah.
You did.
Same goes for Fulton County. Same goes for Washington, D.C. Where's the other
Sorry.
one at? Oh, well, I don't know about that Mar-a-Lago, boy. That one there is going to be something different.
Speaking of the other ones, he's lucky that none of the other trials have gone forward just yet. To tell you the truth, he should be counting his blessings that this is the only one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I hope they get to use some of this testimony and evidence in the other trials. I think it's relevant.
Well, it depends. I mean, it's up to the judge what he allows in each one of those cases.
They gotta allow character stuff in there, man, and this guy ain't got none.
Well, they could ask him about it, but he's not gonna testify in any of them, so they won't have a chance to talk to him about those things.
I don't know. He might jump in there and testify on one of them eventually.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that he regrets not testifying in this case?
No, buddy.
It couldn't have got no worse.
Oh, it could have got way worse. I mean, yeah, he got all guilties, right?
Yeah.
But if he had to testify, they would have had to add something on to his sentence, man.
They haven't sentenced him yet.
I know it, and that's why he didn't testify. He didn't show no remorse or nothing. That's all going to play into his sentencing, which is why I think he's going to get a little bit of time, 30, 45 days or something, suspended, and then throw the rest off to the left, another year on probation or something like that. He'll be back out before the election, but I don't think he's gonna make the cutoff for the debate.
Man, I don't know. We'll see.
Man, hey, Kev,
no jail time, probation, and house arrest. It could be anything.
Kev, you seen you've been to traffic court, I'm sure. And have you ever seen when like the person be standing there unwitting and they might be the one with the attitude and everything, talking that stuff? And then the judge be like, yeah, we're going to remand you to custody, bailiff. And then all of a sudden the bailiff already be behind the dude. And the dude start looking around like, man, that's what I want to see that on. I wish they put that on TV when the judge tell only 11, be like, yeah, we're going to have to lock you up for 45 days starting now. And bailiff, Trump get to looking around. You think he's going to fight or you think he's going to pass out?
I think he'll be paralyzed. He won't be able to.
He's gonna paralyze himself, and they're gonna have to drag him up out of there.
Yeah, he'll just exactly. He'll just be stunned into paralyzation. But
man. I hope they hit him with the Hannibal Lecter muzzle on the way up out of there. Since he loved Hannibal Lecter so much,
right?
But
I mean, when you think about it, it's so fitting because this, I don't like to, even the Bible says, don't gloat when somebody else is going through something, even if they're your enemy or however it's put. I just paraphrase now. I ain't gonna give you no chapter and verse. But the thing is, like we said in our last video, if you do the time, you need to do the if you do the crime, you need to do the time. And unfortunately for him, criminal activity leads to prosecution. And when you get prosecuted and found guilty, you got to pay the price. So we'll see how this goes. But it's a shame that the Republican Party has hitched their wagon to such a crappy figure. I mean, what did they expect? This is the guy. Literally, the reason that they handled this Stormy Daniels situation the way they did was it was on the heels of grab women by the what. I mean, and they still picked him then to run, and he lucked out and got in the office. But after everything that we saw, everything that we've been through January 6th, we done been through, you name it, all of the scandals. It's just piss poor handling of COVID, all of the lies, all of the scandals, the emoluments clause violations, Hatch Act violations, you name it. And they hitched their wagon to him again. And they knew that he had these pending charges. It's like, what do you expect, Republican Party? What do you expect? Did you think this was going to go well?
You already know it ain't gonna go well.
Look,
Man,
his
yeah.
attorney already served time for this exact same crime. So, of course, he's going to get found guilty. Of course, it's a crime. It's already been established as a crime.
Now, hold on now. You heard Trump in his little rebuttal today. He said that he didn't know what Cohen was doing over there. Allegedly, he had some things going on with taxi cabs or something. And I was like,
we had the recording.
Doing some business things with other people that he didn't, that he didn't have any idea about. That's when he let him go. He said, we let him go. We let him go.
He did
recording. Like that. Let him go.
He signed the checks sitting in the Oval Office of the United States, paying Cohen and signing checks to pay back Cohen for having fronted money to
it's an illegal expense. It's an illegal expense. I mean, we tagged it as an illegal expense.
It was illegal, sir. Thus, you're convicted.
Hey, I got a funny one, man. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Kev. I got a real funny video I did want to bring on here and share right quick.
Sure.
This is your homie, Tim Scott. And my goodness.
Let me guess, he mad?
Oh, man, is this dude mad. I don't know if this video was actually recorded just before or just after the verdicts came down. Trump says he'll appeal his conviction on 34 counts. So I assume it's right after. Right after. But he was saying the exact same thing right before because I saw his video right before. But y'all need to check out Tim Scott. Boy, my goodness. The level of the audacity of hope. My goodness. Let's see what we got here.
Undoubtedly a heavily Democratic area. And I'm interested, if this trial had taken place and the verdicts had come down in South Carolina, do you think that would have been okay? That would have worked?
Well, the bottom line is this, that what you want in the justice system is Lady Justice to wear a blindfold. And what we did not see, Phil, in this incident is that Lady Justice actually took off the blindfold. It's one of the reasons why we continue to talk about the fact that under Joe Biden, the weaponization of the justice system has become front and center in this election. The reason why we're seeing so many African Americans come.
So, like you said, I haven't heard this, but okay, first of all, this was brought by Bragg out of New York. It was a New York state crime or set of New York state crimes that he was charged with. Joseph Biden had zero to do with this, nothing to do with this. This is not the weaponization of the Justice Department. This was a New York state crime.
Coming to the Trump campaign, two big reasons, jobs and justice. I'll say simply, as an African-American born and raised in the Deep South who had concerns about our justice system as it relates to race, I'm now seeing it play out from a partisan perspective. Now, it's not as much black and white as it is red and blue. And so when you see a conservative facing a jury that appears to be blue or different.
Now, Ken, if you don't remember, I remember a time where Trump was out there saying lock her up over and over and over on the campaign trail back in 2015, right?
Oh yeah, they still say it all the way from 2015 until last week. The last time he was out there, when he did the thing in New York and New Jersey. They was hollering lock her up then, talking about Hillary.
I remember him on a debate stage telling Hillary, she said, we'll be it'll be messed up or something if you get elected, Donald. He said, yeah, because you be in jail, meaning he was going to direct the Justice Department to get on her. He was, and let's remember now, the Justice Department let him off the hook over and over. Bill Barr himself came out ahead of the Mueller report and threw out the fake stories to throw the American public off the trail, and he lied, boldface lied about Mueller and Mueller's point of view. So the Justice Department has been weaponized, and not to mention all of the promises Trump has made to put Joe Biden in jail and to kill the former, what was it, Milley, the former general.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
promised retribution. How do you think he's going to do it? Through the Justice Department. So this is all hot air, but go ahead and play this mess.
No doubt.
Tim Scott.
Democrat or left leaning, you wonder if the justice system will play out fairly. And what we've seen time and time again is the answer is no. When you know that the judge made contributions to pro-Biden, anti-Trump funds, when you know that the judge's daughter raised millions of dollars for Joe Biden
I understand,
and Democrat
I understand
candidates,
the points
you
that have
have
been
to ask
made
the question,
repeatedly by the former president's defenders.
Fair?
I want to make clear we don't know.
Do you disagree, Phil, with the fact that we don't know the political affiliation that the judge broke the law of New York by making a contribution to a pro-Biden campaign organization?
Senator, the point I want to make is that we don't know the political affiliation of the jurors. We certainly know the political leaning of the county in which they were in, the city in which they were in.
Hold up.
You're making about the Justice Department.
So he's not pointing out anything that the judge did that is improper, first of all. Second of all, if the judge did do something improper, that's what appeals are for. So we haven't crossed that bridge yet, Tim. Third of all, a jury decided guilt. So whether or not the judge's daughter is whistling Dixie or collecting money or doing whatever she's doing, it has nothing to do with guilt or innocence or the law or the laws that were broken. Nobody told Trump to pay that woman off, man.
Nobody told him. And ain't nobody gonna tell him the next time either.
In the trials, do you believe if Trump is reelected as president of the United States, that he should kill off the other two federal charges that he has from the special counsel?
Listen, I look forward to the day of reckoning. I certainly believe that day of reckoning is November the 5th. I do believe that President Trump will be successful in being reelected as the president of the United States. And I do believe that we will have an opportunity to right the ship and to restore confidence in our justice system. Let that play out. And as that plays out, we'll see the American people making a decision on that day of reckoning. If we see that play out and let the American people decide the future of this nation on November the 5th, as opposed to having the justice system dictate that outcome.
No, I
we'll
understand.
A stronger,
I understand what you're saying.
Country.
Pause it, Ken.
What you're saying in terms of
Ken, I didn't know that if you decide that you're gonna run for office, automatically you shouldn't be tried for nothing, even if you did commit a crime out in broad daylight.
Right. I think I should the next time I decide to go on hiatus and run through the shopping mall or something like that, bugging out, I'll be already have my paperwork in my pocket. Hey, hold on, buddy. I'm running for office. So you can't convict me of none of these crimes because I'm running for office.
Right.
Yes, I tried to rob that bank, but I'm running for office. And regardless of how many porn stars I pay off and how much hush money I pay to make her shut up so that I can get elected, shouldn't matter because I'm running for office.
Yeah.
No, that's not how any of that works. You don't get to do that with any crime, let alone, I mean, come on, man.
And Tim Scott's skin is too dark for him not to realize that.
Yeah. this dude is running for office in order to stay out of jail, and then they trying to pin it as the jail is trying to keep him from running for office.
Right. Exactly.
No, that's not how any of this works. Come on now.
There are two very different paths of the political candidates and the policies that they would pursue. But I'm asking, these are two federal charges that the special counsel has brought. The former president, if he becomes president again, would ostensibly have control over the Justice Department, which is in the executive branch. Should he tell the Justice Department to do away with the charges, to drop them?
Well, I believe that one of the things that President Trump has said very clearly is he's very thankful. He just said a couple of hours ago, he's thankful that it was him and not someone else. So what that to me reinforces is that is a very patriotic statement. What he suggests there is that we want the legal system to play out fairly.
No, I think it was more so he was saying he was the one glad he was the one that got to lay down with Stormy Daniels.
Well, I mean, it was the best 14 seconds of his life.
Or hers. What
No.
he say? What he say? Fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone above the legal system, but we also don't want anyone below the legal system. And so as the next president of the United States, I believe that he will restore confidence and fairness from the DOJ down to the states as well.
But he's made very clear that he thinks this Justice Department under President Biden has pursued a very similar process to what has been why he thinks the process in New York was, in his words, rigged or problematic. So why shouldn't he also have the Justice Department drop those charges?
Well, Phil, I would say I agree with the former president that this system was rigged, that the verdict and the outcome is a hoax of a trial, that there's no question that the average American, especially the ones that are calling me, the never Trumpers who were absolutely positively not voting for Donald Trump, they're now voting for Donald Trump. The donors who were on the sidelines.
Whoa!
But wait a minute, why didn't they vote for Donald Trump on the jury? You had 12 people. All it took was one of them not to do it right, and then the rest of them couldn't do nothing. It would have been a hung jury.
Yeah.
They had all 12 of them, and one of them, I already told y'all that I was a little worried about one of them, which said that she watches Fox News and OAN and Newsmax, and she gets a little information off of the not the Twiddler, but the Truthist, the Truth Socials. Yeah, had a Truth Social account and everything. Somehow they found guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and Tim Scott is still trashing the doggone jurors, the actual patriots in this situation.
Throwing them under the bus. They served amicably and honorably, and they got paid diddly squat. They sat there for 5 weeks, sitting there attentive, following all of the judge's instructions. No indication that there was anything untoward that went on. He's not mentioning any specifics as far as the trial goes. He did not get to review all of the evidence. The jury did. He was not there to see all of the evidence, but he's calling it all a sham, even though this was a prior convicted case for Trump's lawyer. So this just goes to show you, he's not wearing that dang blue suit or red tie for no reason. This is called a sycophant. This is a cult, and they're just basically going to follow anything that that happens with Trump and just back him up no matter what. I mean, literally, like he said, he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and Tim Scott will be there to pick up the shell.
Absolutely. Put it in his pocket and run.
Because they just wanted to stay out of it. They're now flocking to DonaldJTrump.com to make contributions. Here's what's happened, and this is a very important point. We are seeing a realignment of politics in America.
Uh-huh.
I said it's important now.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's say that.
Because most Americans want a fair judicial system. We don't want to hunt our political opponents. We actually want Lady Justice to restore the blindfold.
Pause it, kid.
Now, what did Trump say about what he gonna do with Joe Biden and all, and the whole Justice Department and the FBI and the CIA and the doggone Homeland Security? He finna shut down Social Security. This man talking about shutting down schools and the Department of Education and everything.
He asked Zelensky to go and just say that you have an investigation of Joe Biden before Joe Biden even declared that he was going to run, because he knew that he was a viable candidate. He literally asked another country to do this. Not only that, he sent his own Justice Department after Hillary Clinton. And he started an investigation. He got his Justice Department to start an investigation into Hunter Biden, who has never participated in any government function. So, why wasn't Tim Scott screaming about fairness back then?
Yeah, even though there aren't any dang on charges for real, but apparently they can't get a grand jury to doggone indict Joe Biden, but Trump, come on now, come on, man.
Lord have mercy.
And to intentionally look for crimes, not people. That is not what we saw this time out. And that is a travesty of justice.
You make an interesting point about the evolution of folks that maybe said they weren't going to support Trump, or certainly after the January 6th riot, the Capitol said they were kind of done with him, that have come back into his fold. Look, I covered you in the Senate. If it wasn't about a policy issue that you wanted to talk about for a long time, it was opportunity zones, which you got across the finish line. You weren't going to stop and talk in the halls. You were not somebody who was seeking out cameras. You were not somebody who was doing a lot of media interviews. You campaigned for president as a happy warrior. Now you're on TV, which I appreciate. Right now you're on TV a lot. You're very aggressive in pleading or pushing Trump's case on his behalf. And I wonder what changed. Is it, the cynic would say it's because you want to be vice president? Was it because there was something you saw that shifted how you felt like you had to act in this moment?
Well, Phil, I'll tell you this. If you come back to the Capitol, we'll be happy to see you there. And one of the things you'll note is I still don't take hallway questions. That has not changed whatsoever. I get more media requests since running for president than I have, multiplied by 10. We still turn down the vast majority of them. The bottom line is simply this: the person that I was is the person that I am, and the person I will be. But one thing I do believe in is that America's best days are best seen through the prism of 4 more years of Donald Trump. Because now we have a contrast, Phil. We have a contrast between the 4 years of Joe Biden.
All right, man. I really about done heard enough of that crap.
Yeah,
and the sun's going down.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man.
I mean, I don't know. You think the crowd want to hear the rest of it? It ain't that much left, man. But
no, I don't think so. I think we heard enough, man. We're not missing out on anything. It's just cognitive dissonance. It's just, I'm just going to pay attention to what I want to pay attention to. And I'm going to, it's like watching a basketball game and the score is 112 blue, 82 white. And you saying white clearly has a better team, I mean,
yeah, on almost any given Sunday. Unless they're getting adjudicated and charged and convicted on 34 counts of felony. Hot dang. Y'all love them felonies, don't you? Y'all want felony? I told my MAGA buddy earlier, I said now that he's been charged and convicted on all these crimes, maybe the blacks will really join around him, because he's just like us. He's just like us.
Well, Trump said that basically himself.
That was my point.
Yeah, old felonious skunk. Man, look, think about it. When speaking about black people now, we know that Trump has some racist bents starting back in the 70s when him and his daddy used to put the little C's on the housing applications, meaning the applicant is colored. Then moving forward to Obama, the birtherism, the racist birtherism stuff that he was doing. And then there was the old Judge Curiel in his Trump University fraud case where he paid $25 million because he defrauded all those students out of their money, saying that judge can't judge him fairly because he's Mexican. And he's building a wall, I mean, the guy has shown himself to be a racist over and over. Then there was the Central Park 5, where these guys were exonerated in New York City. And it just so happens that they were tried in the same doggone building that Trump got tried and convicted in. And they were wrongfully accused and wrongfully convicted, and they were exonerated. But Trump still came out and said they still should get the death penalty. Well, when he goes up for appeal, his appeal is going to land in the lap of 5 African American women who will be judging whether or not his appeal goes forward. And so he done went from the Central Park 5 to the Appellate 5. Congratulations, Benedict Donald. You made
Made it. Hey, it's been so real, baby. It's been real. It's been real. Hey, we love y'all. I was gonna play the song, but we went a little bit over tonight, so I won't suffer y'all with that. Kev, you want to say your final goodbye?
Yes, indeed. I'll just say this: decency matters. Who we pick to run this country matters. Tim Scott thinks that y'all are dumb enough to put a felon into the White House, somebody who, in order to travel to another country, will have to get clearance from his parole officer. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we need to put somebody in there who can travel freely, among
Yeah,
other things.
right.
And I'll just
Somebody
say
who
this.
can actually vote.
And I'll just say this: speaking of somebody who can travel freely and vote, uh, the same day that Benedict Donald was convicted, that was the day that Joe Biden did an executive order. Guess what? Your medical bills can no longer be reported to credit bureaus. Hot dog. Thank you so much, Joe Biden.
Yeah. Hey, and
Oh,
and a little bit of that with it too. Y'all have a good evening. Cake Cube, we love you.
man, them got to be the best gums I ever seen.
Hot dang.